note, Let's Talk About is a series where I just talk about games. There is no script, I have a rough outline of what I want to talk about, but it's more of just an off-the-cuff, off-the-top-of-my-head discussion about a topic or a game that I like to talk about. This is not intended as a review. This is just intended as discussion. Thank you.
Oh man, if there's one franchise that the parent company just completely ignores, like Metroid, it's gotta be Command and Conquer. EA's never really been big on Command and Conquer, with the exception of I think Command and Conquer 3 and Red Alert 3. That was the last times we got to saw anything real, unless you count the phone game, in which case, no. But it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of strategy to it, and even if you're just playing against AI, you can have hours and hours and hours of fun. I've never really played against other people, except our friends once or twice in Command & Conquer 3, and I've still had a blast with the franchise and I want to see it grow. So of course I was very excited when I saw that EA has announced that they were beginning production on a remaster of the original Command & Conquers. Excited and a little nervous is the more appropriate response. Excited because, hey, they're finally paying attention to the franchise. This will be great. And nervous because, well, when the Metroid series was paid attention to, we ended up with Samus Returns, which isn't bad? It's not great, but it's not bad. Oh man, that's a video in and of itself. But anyway, I wanted to talk about Command and Conquer, not Metroid. The big reasons that everybody's excited for this remaster is it seems that EA is paying attention to the community. I had the benefit of seeing the post right as it went up on the subreddit where they announced it, and the entire community was extremely excited, but also very cautious, just like I just said that I was. And it's for a good reason. EA really hasn't shown much love to the franchise, they just kind of want to milk it. And the mobile game should highlight that. But we're just going to continue with this video hoping for the best. I want to outline my wishes, I want to outline why Command & Conquer is so good, and I want to talk about another project called OpenRA. But we'll get into that. First, let's talk about Command & Conquer as a franchise. So first off, there's two major types of Command & Conquer. There's your milsim, your futuristic milsim rather, with the Global Defense Initiative, or GDI, or the Brotherhood of Nod, or just known as Nod. Each have their ways of doing things. The Global Defense Initiative is more military, it's more structured, it's more for preserving humanity. The Brotherhood of Nod, however, is a weird cult-like thing who wants the entire world to be controlled by Tiberium because they believe that Tiberium is going to be a resource that will evolve humanity to the next level. On the other side of the coin, you've got the Red Alert series of games, which are alternate history games that take place sometime after World War II. They're actually really interesting. Same base gameplay, but just a different story to go with it, and it actually fits really well. Now, as far as that gameplay goes, it's a base builder game. So whenever you first start off, you have your one construction yard, and then you build up your base from there. Start with a power plant or two, throw down some refineries, so you can either refine the Tiberium into credits, or you can refine the ore into credits, depending on which game you're playing. Then once you get the basics of the base up and running, you can plop down barracks, which will help you train units, like soldiers, or even more advanced units like commandos. You can place down war factories, which will help you build tanks and vehicles and that kind of stuff. You can throw up base defenses like turrets, or once you unlock more advanced stuff by placing down like a tech lab, you can unlock things like the Obelisk of Light on Nod's side, which is just a fucking laser tower that will just mow anything down in its sight. It's fucking rad. I love it. The basic gameplay is you're both commanding your own forces, you build up your own bases, and then you have to fight each other, and then the last man standing wins. It sounds really simple on paper, but whenever you're actually playing, it can get pretty intense, because you always have these choices of, oh, well, do I do this first, do I do that first, do I build up a bunch of tanks, but then he might have some air support that can come in and kill me. So it's a really nice game of chess, going back and forth, and it's never really clear who the victor is until close to the end. And there are even some games where you think someone's going to lose because they're down to just 2 or 3 buildings, and they come back and win. I've seen it happen. But outside of the traditional multiplayer or just skirmishes with the AI, you do get a campaign. And oh my god, I love their campaigns. They have these cheesy live-action clips before each level, and they're just so good. Command & Conquer 3 I think is my favorite because they have Michael Ironside, and his deadpan is just fucking perfect.
They sucked his brains out.
But on the other side, on Red Alert 3, you get J.K. Simmons and George Takei, and it's just as glorious as it sounds, because George Takei is like the Emperor of Japan, and it's like, oh man, it's so good.
Given enough time, any man may master the physical. With enough knowledge, any man may become wise.
The actor who plays Kane is also really good, really good at making you think that, you know, he's this insane cult leader, but he's really actually smart, and he has like that perfect charisma that just makes you believe in what he's saying, just like a cult leader should. It's good. It's really good. And of course, typically the games, well, they do have some balance issues here and there. I'm not really a fan of the way that Command & Conquer 3 is balanced. I much prefer the way Red Alert 2 is balanced. There are some mods out there that you can and probably should install. There's a lot of mods out there for every single Command & Conquer game, but a lot of them will have rebalance mods, and there are some that are actually really quite good that will fix some of the inconsistencies in gameplay. Like just like how some units are supposed to be, it's supposed to be rock paper scissors, but you can have like unit spam and just spam like 40 pit bulls, and you can roll through and destroy an enemy base. That really shouldn't be able to happen, so some of the rebalance mods will fix that. Little details like that that'll make the game just play way better. Now, as a whole, from a remaster, it needs to hit all of those points. It needs to be fun to play with friends, it needs to be easy to play with friends, which if they're remaking the original game means they're going to have to add modern networking features on top of it. Hopefully it'll tie into Steam or Origin or something. I would really love for them to use the original footage from the live action shots in the campaign and just kind of remaster them, but I don't know how doable that is. It would be kind of a shame to see them cast all new actors and reshoot them, but I understand that that's what they have to do, especially if they don't actually even have the original video files anymore. That goes under the nice to have category, but not super essential. As far as the campaign goes, the campaign needs to be flawless. It needs to be a perfect recreation down to like unit positioning on the screen. And that's something that kind of worries me, because I don't know if they're going to be going with this traditional 2D pixel art or if they're going to be going 3D with it. If they go 3D with it, it can end up changing the game. But we'll deal with that once there's more information out there, because, oh man, that's going to go in the essential category, I feel. Like, I feel it needs to just be pixel art. As far as the actual gameplay and balance and everything, they need to use the original numbers and the original timings of everything that it was in the original game, because otherwise you're going to introduce balance changes, and if you're going for a remaster, it needs to not have any balance issues addressed or anything. It needs to be a perfect one-to-one recreation of the original game, at least in my opinion. And of course, it needs to have mod support. Mods are incredibly essential for keeping your game active long-term. There are so many examples of mods for games, like Prop Hunt, for example. If it wasn't for things like that existed, I guarantee you a lot of games would die off early on. Just because mods can breathe new life into things and make you keep coming back to the same game. Even though you're technically playing a different game, it's still played on top of that one game. And if you've got more people coming to it and more people playing it often, then you're more likely to have a community that lasts for, you know, longer than 6 months or a year. But with all this talks of what we need and what we don't need and what I'd like to see and what, you know, I don't want to see, with all that said, I mentioned something earlier that is going to complicate things. OpenRA exists, and it's a reverse-engineered source port of the original games. It's kind of similar to OpenRCT2, if you've seen that, where someone went back and reverse-engineered Roller Coaster Tycoon and made it open source. That's a similar project to OpenRA. The problem there is that OpenRA uses all the original assets, but it's a modern engine implementation, meaning that it's got cool features like pixel doubling. It runs on Linux. It actually functions on proper modern OSs. The network play is a lot better. It's a lot more streamlined. There's a lot of enhancements and benefits, which, if I'm going to be frank, OpenRA is kind of the remaster I want. It doesn't touch gameplay. It just makes the engine better, and it makes it work on modern platforms, and that's all they needed to do. Yeah, it's a little bare bones, but if you're remastering a game, that's kind of the point, isn't it? My real question is, how is this going to compete with the remaster? Is the community going to take to this over the remaster? Is the remaster going to take over this? Is this going to die off because of the remaster? Is EA going to threaten it legally because of the remaster? We don't know yet. Honestly, I in my point of view, what I want from this particular game remaster, OpenRA kind of checks all those boxes. It would be nice to have an official game do it, and it'd be even nicer to have like the cutscenes remastered and stuff like that. But I also understand if it doesn't happen. And if that's the case, then I think I'll just be happy with playing OpenRA. Alright guys, well, this was just a quick video. I just wanted to talk about the remaster and throw some things out there. Command & Conquer's been on my mind lately, so hopefully this painted a picture for you guys of how great this game is, and you can pick up the Command & Conquer Complete Collection for really cheap on sales. Like, I think I paid like $4 for it or something insane, and it's like 18 games, and it's so good. Like, you seriously need to give them a shot. If all that fails, then check out OpenRA. I'm pretty sure you can find a copy of the GitHub. I don't know if it needs game files or not, because I have game files, but whatever, give it a shot. Let me know how you like it. And let me know down in the comments below if you how you feel about remasters versus remakes versus re-releases versus all that stuff. Let me know how you feel this will fall on the spectrum.